Hey guys, so I wanted to share my story of Beachbody coaching and sort of my journey and what's led me to where I am today. I started off as somebody who wanted really nothing to do with coaching. I wanted nothing to do with multi-level marketing. I always thought that it was very salesy. I didn't want people thinking that I was coming to them to sell them something. I didn't want to lose friends over it. I'd had a bad experience with something similar in the past, and I really just wanted nothing to do with it. So it's really funny coming from me that now that's all I do. But my story really started in 2009 when my dad passed away. My dad committed suicide in 2009, and it was really unexpected. It was 2 weeks after my sister had given birth to his first granddaughter and 2 weeks before my older sister walked down the aisle. So it was a really, really difficult time for me. And at the same time, my grandmother then went into the ICU and was in the hospital in recovery for 6 months. And I was laid off from my job. And I've always been this person that has come off as super duper happy, even when I wasn't happy. And I was always the person who was trying to make everybody else happy and always trying to be that positive force, even when I was feeling my worst. And in 2009, when that all happened, I no longer was really able to pretend. I became very depressed. I'm an emotional eater for sure. It's something that I've worked on my entire life, and I think that now I finally have under control. But, I gained a lot of weight, and I tried several things to make myself happier. I tried workouts. I tried reading things, I tried eating right, I tried doing all of these things, and it wasn't working for me. And the main reason it wasn't working for me is because I didn't have that support system or that accountability that was really lacking for me. And even though my husband Ryan was killing it with P90X at the time, and no, neither one of us were coaches at the moment, he just always sort of had that itch and that urge to be somebody who was totally into fitness, and he loved working out, and that just wasn't me. And on top of that, the depression just sort of stopped me. So I tried TurboFire, and I really loved the workouts. They were very hard for me. But the problem was I didn't stick to them because I just still didn't have what it took in me to kind of commit and do it. And so I would start the workouts, and then I would stop, and then I would start, and then I would stop. I would start, and it would be like a rest day, which would turn into like a week of rest, and then I'd be like, oh, I've got to start the program again. So it's a 12-week program, and I never made it past like week 4 because I would always be starting again. So I wasn't seeing the results that I wanted to. In the meantime, Ryan had been working for a company for 7 years. He had moved up the ladder in that company every single year. And he, I thought, loved his job, but he actually really was not enjoying what he was doing. And one day out of the blue, I get a message from him that says, I just quit my job. So now Ryan and I are on my one salary, which was a third of what he was making at the time. He had a company car, so now we were down to one car. We were on his health insurance for $75 a month, and now I was going to be paying over $300 for just myself. So Ryan went without health insurance for several months while he looked for a job. He has tons of experience with all sorts of different things, from management to engineering to sales to literally running his own business. And still, it took him up to 6 months to find a new job in that job market. And this was in 2012. And so what happened is that one day, because I loved TurboFire so much, I started following Janelle Summers on Facebook, and I wrote to him and I said, Janelle Summers just wrote on her Facebook page that one of her coaches went emerald. I was like, what is she talking about? Is she part of like Amway or some multi-level marketing company or something? And I get home that night from work, and Ryan tells me that he signed up to be a Beachbody coach. He goes, actually, what she was talking about is that there's this whole entire coaching opportunity behind Beachbody, and I just reached out to Chris Reed, and I signed up with him to become a coach. And I was like, who the heck is Chris Reed? And what? And why wouldn't you sign up with Janelle? And, all of these different things. But what I didn't realize is that Ryan had been part of a group on Facebook for P90X, and Chris had contacted him through that 3 years previous. And the reason Ryan didn't really dig into it then was because of all the stuff that was going on with, my dad and my family situation and everything like that. He just didn't think it would be a good time. So when he found out that that was what Chris meant when he said, have you ever considered coaching? He remembered that, and he reached back out to him and he said, yeah, let's do this. And he signed up that day. I said I wanted nothing to do with it. I still wanted nothing to do with it. Number one, a fear of what other people would think of me. Number two, I wasn't where I wanted to be physically or mentally, and I just didn't think that it was for me. And again, bad taste in my mouth about multi-level marketing. So I didn't jump on board right away. And Ryan actually got a job that very same week that he signed up to be a coach. So funny how the universe works. Like you say you want to do something and it gives you more. And he ended up going into a vigorous sales training for about 2 months. So he didn't really get started with his business either for another couple months. And when he did, he got his brother-in-law to sign up with him. And his brother-in-law ended up getting amazing results, going off of his blood pressure medications, and Ryan was sold. He's like, okay, so not only do I love P90X and I'm getting great results, but now it's actually helped one of my family members, and I can see this, and I know that it works, and I want to do this. So he looked at me and he said, Chris says the next step is to sign you up. And of course I was like, oh no, hell no, no way. And he said, but haven't you talked about how you kind of want to get fit and you've wanted to try Insanity? And so I was like, okay, fine. I want to try Insanity. I'll just purchase it through you. And he said, nope, you're going to sign up as a coach. So I said, fine. And I sat there and I typed all the information in and I slapped my laptop shut and I looked at him and said, happy. And I walked off. And so I got my Insanity program in Shakeology and I just committed to myself. I said, I'm going to do it to a T. I have 2 friends that just finished it that said, if you do it to a T, you'll get the best results of your life. And so I did. I marked off every single day on that calendar for 60 days. And I lost 30 pounds and I lost 27 inches off my body. And everybody was asking me what I was doing. They weren't just asking me like, how did you lose weight or you look good? People noticed a complete change in me, like my mindset, my positivity, how I felt, how I was portraying myself, my confidence, all of that just started to lift and I started to be happy. And then I started to read things. I started to read Gabrielle Bernstein and I started to work on myself. And so I was working on my spirituality, my mindset, emotional and physical health all at once. And it just sort of solidified everything for me. And so I turned and I looked at Ryan and I said, I see how this works. You do the programs, you do the products, you start feeling better on the inside and outside. People start noticing and they come to you. I was like, okay, I get it. I get it now. And the next thing I know, I'm on the phone with Chris Reed. And Chris Reed tells me his story. And I just started thinking, like, if I can help one person feel as good as I do right now, then this would be worth it. And after hearing his story and seeing where he was in his business, that's where I was like, okay, and I'm not going to worry about what other people think. I'm going to start listening to this person because he has what I want. And so that's what I did. And I'm not going to say it was a perfect thing throughout the entire journey of me becoming a coach. But there were times where I would butt heads with Chris and say, no, I don't want to do that because it was making me feel uncomfortable. And he would say, well, you told me you'd do anything to be successful and this is what it takes. And he'd remind me of that. So I'd be like, you're right. I did say that. And I would go and do it. And then again, with personal development, Gabrielle Bernstein, I reached out to her and I said, what do you do when you know that what you have is incredible? You have something amazing to offer somebody, but you're afraid of being salesy or you're afraid of what they'll think. And she said, be unapologetic about the service behind this business. And so that's what I did. And that's what I started teaching my coaches to do. I said, stop focusing on what that person thinks of you and start thinking about what you have to offer them. What you have to offer them is a better life, better finances, better health, feeling better about themselves, a smaller size in jeans, feeling good when they put their clothes on in the morning, spending more time with their family. I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on. And so because of that, I started focusing there. And then I started looking at it like it was my responsibility and my duty to give back to these people. Not that I was bothering them. If they said no, it was a not right now. And it wasn't to me. It was that they just weren't ready yet, just like I wasn't ready, a year prior. And so my business exploded because I focused on helping people and inspiring people to feel as good as I felt. And because I focused on my business and did what he told me to, that took some sacrifices here and there. Did that mean I lacked a little bit of sleep sometimes? Yes. Did that mean I checked in with people on my lunch breaks at work? Yes. I started this business just like everybody else, working a full-time job, working 50 hours a week, doing networking things on the side for groups that I ran for social media and things of that nature. But because of that, I was able to leave my job. I gave my notice in 6 months and I left, a month later. So I was able to match my salary and leave my job within 6 months of this business because I made those sacrifices and because I focused on helping people. So I went in 1 year's time from hater to 6-star diamond elite coach. And then this past year I did elite again, and I'm an 8-star diamond coach, well on my way to 10-star and above, and I know our team is going to do it. So I think that, that's my journey. And I think that something that I would just remind people of is that when you feel like you're getting no's, they're not right nows, and that person still may be watching you and may contact you later for your help. They're watching you, so just keep doing what you're doing. And also focus on how you can help people instead of focusing on being afraid of what others are thinking. And that will help you get past that hump so that you can start achieving not only what you want for yourself, but for your team and for your family and for your coaches. So that's my story.